We are going through every single team at this year's trade deadline and picking one player that all 32 teams should trade. It's honestly been a quiet trade deadline this year, but I think it's about to heat up after this week's games. Some of these teams were very hard to make a choice for, so comment your favorite team and which player you want to see them trade or trade for. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals, and I think, guys, it's time to trade Kyler Murray. To the Minnesota Vikings, to the Cleveland Browns, although Browns fans probably have trading for QB PTSD. Speaking of the Vikings, the Falcons, one player they should trade is Kirk Cousins, and maybe he should go back and be their QB again. After watching that Thursday night football game, the Dolphins are a team that need to consider trading everyone, but definitely guys like A-Chain, Waddle probably have the most trade value, but the most realistic traded player by the end of this trade deadline, I think it might be actually a lock that Bradley Chubb will be traded. Just don't trade him to the Chiefs. I'm gonna call it right now. Bradley Chubb gets traded to the Eagles. We're recording this on Thursday night at 8:37 p.m. for the record. The Jets are another trade everyone type of situation, but Breece Hall rumors continue to fly all around the internet, and I think there's something to those. Another one, don't trade him to the Chiefs. I'll tell you the rest of the players that each team should trade this trade deadline, but first, we've never met before. Hi, I'm NFL Mike. I'm an NFL content creator that creates NFL content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sundays. If you're a football fan, I know you'll love the channel. Please subscribe before you forget. Turn on notifications so you can be here every time we upload or go live. We go live Wednesdays at around 10:30 a.m.-ish. Also, real quick, before you forget, take 1 second to like the video. It's the free way you can support all of my content. Liking the video might literally send it to hundreds of more people. And again, comment your favorite team and who they should trade or trade for. Picking someone on the Colts was impossible. They shouldn't trade anybody. Think about it. The team should be 8-0. So maybe since they're stacked at wide receiver, they got Josh Downs, they got Alec Pierce, they got Michael Pittman, Ashton Doolin. Maybe you should trade the guy that cost you the one game. A.D. Mitchell fumbled on the 1 yard line, and Coach Shane Steichen has tanked his snap count. Still a very talented young player who, if scoring a touchdown on that play, if he just holds on to the ball into the end zone, maybe someone will be interested in him. But honestly, the Colts should be buyers, not sellers. Rams, another team that should be buyers. Don't trade anyone. If anything, get on your hands and knees and beg Aaron Donald to come out of retirement and make this superhuman. But if you have to try and brainstorm an idea for the Rams, maybe you trade a guy like Darius Williams who could start in the slot on a lot of teams. Maybe you trade and then slide Emmanuel Forbes into his spot, or maybe you trade Emmanuel Forbes plus a pick to try and upgrade at corner of some sort. The Ravens shouldn't trade anyone, but if this season keeps going to shit, should they trade their head coach? He might have trade value. Isaiah Likely, maybe? Damn, they're using all the other tight ends but Isaiah Likely, and Isaiah Likely might be the most talented young one. It's got some trade value. I wouldn't trade anyone though. Baltimore is trying to go on a run, and the Steelers have cracked the door open for both the Bengals and the Ravens. Bills, same thing, shouldn't trade anybody. And same thing, maybe they should just look for an upgrade at a position. Pair Josh Palmer with a pick and try and get a better receiver there. Panthers, don't trade anybody. Don't you dare trade anybody now after all that work. But maybe you can get like a 6th or 7th round pick for a team that really needs a slot receiver, really needs some help. Someone reliable for Aaron Rodgers maybe in Pittsburgh. Send him Hunter Renfrow. Why not? Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, would they want to rebuild the crash out twins like they had with George Pickens and DK Metcalf for 2 weeks and trade for AJ Brown? I doubt the Steelers are into making that big of an all-in move this year. I do think that they will be going for a receiver and calling up about Devonta Smith also. The Eagles shouldn't trade anybody though, but if there's going to be a trade, you don't need both those wide receivers in this offense unless there's injuries, which is what the Eagles have them for. But the players themselves are getting frustrated, and there's some guys in the depth of the Eagles wide receiver room that would love the opportunity. Cleveland Browns is a little bit of a biased pick. Trade Shadur Sanders so he can have his time to shine. This could be a low risk, high reward for the Vikings. This could be a low risk for a team with a veteran quarterback who wants to set themselves up for the future with a star player potentially, because that's what Sanders is. Denver Broncos is another biased one. One of the only players in the Broncos I even like, but the Broncos obviously love their running back situation with RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, and I wish this trade was open to my Bolts because it would be pretty cheap, and again, low risk, high reward. Jaleel McLaughlin, man, send him to us, Sean, or just send him to any team that needs like a solid RB2. I think the Detroit Lions should get the cap space cleared because it's similar to what we see in Philly. They don't need Jameson Williams in this offense. Khalif Raymond can fill that spot. Isaac Tesla can fill that spot. We've seen it, and they can draft somebody that can fill that spot in next year's draft, probably in rounds 2 through 5. It's not that J-Mo's a bad receiver. He has trade value. He'll get you a pick, but he only has 100 more yards than the running back receiving this year. It's just a usage thing. Amon-Ra takes up all the targets. Sam Laporta's a baller. Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously a beast. David Montgomery behind him. The Packers need to trade Luke Musgrave. The dude's hardly playing. Tucker Kraft has broken out. Luke Musgrave's only chance of being a star tight end in this league is to leave the Packers. It's like a Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers situation evolving in Green Bay. The Vikings might be a hot take, but I think they should trade Aaron Jones. I know that he hasn't been on the team that long. He's starting to become a little bit of a fan favorite, but Jordan Mason's just better for this offense. The Vikings offense is more smash mouth when he's in there, and it's opening up the pass a lot more when he's in there. I doubt they'll trade him, because if they could figure out the mix between these two, they could figure out a good blend between Jordan Mason and Nate Jones. It's not bad to have a vet in the room, to have a guy ready to go in case there's an injury, and someone to help pass block, because A. Jones is pretty solid in the passing game. Other one, it's a running back again that I want to see traded so bad, is Ramondre Stevenson, for a lot of reasons. I've wanted to see Ramondre Stevenson thrive throughout his entire career. I was cheering for Ramondre Stevenson. I even thought about buying a jersey. That's how much I love the guy. I wanted him traded to the Chargers when they were talking about trading him. I finally get over my Stevenson fandom, and I become the Trevion Henderson stan. I don't know what it is about these Patriots running backs. I just think they keep drafting fun ones. And now that I've become the Trevion Henderson stan, I'm thinking about shopping at NFL Shop. No ad, by the way. I go on to get me a 32 jersey. Now they're starting to feed Ramondre Stevenson. Make it make sense. So trade Ramondre Stevenson somewhere where he can be an RB1, and leave Trevion Henderson in New England so he could be their RB1, and make me happy on both ends. Trade Ramondre Stevenson to the Chargers. We wouldn't mind that. We don't even need an RB1. He can slide in with our guys. They traded away Keon White, and their one player they probably should have traded was Kyle Duggar last offseason. They got the deal done at the trade deadline. The Saints got to trade one of those wide receivers, either Shaheed or Olave. I think Olave's worth a little bit more. And Texans need running backs, very ironically, at this exact moment, because Woody Marks just was announced to be injured. But I think Dameon Pierce is just being wasted. His whole career is going to go to shit. So trade him while you can. Get a 7th round pick, whatever. A team that is desperate for a running back. You got to start to notice the theme here. I'm not pointing at any team logos that might be around the room that might need an extra running back because theirs are all injured, but I might be saying that you should trade Dameon Pierce to the Chargers. For Da Bears, I would go ahead and put all my faith, put my eggs in the Colston Loveland basket. But there's no way in hell Ben Johnson is trading Cole Kmet. That's the player I would trade. Every time I look at Twitter, I see news that a Bengals player or coach or something is going wrong, want out of Cincy, are getting fired out of Cincy, or are injured in Cincy. The newest one was a defensive tackle. He's demanding his way out. He does not want to play for the Bengals another down. He said, either release me or trade me. Logan Wilson was rumored to want out of Cincinnati as well. And I think Logan Wilson is more likely the guy that gets traded. For the Los Angeles Chargers, very hard choice. We shouldn't trade anyone. Keep the depth on this team. Keep the depth at wide receiver, but we are loaded at wide receiver. I think we are personally a little bit thin at corner, a little bit thin on the interior O-line, and a little bit thin on the interior defensive line. Although 92 starting to break out. So can we leverage someone like Quentin Johnston to go and get one of those positions addressed? Get somebody to help out in the room of one of those spots that we are desperately needing help at, that we can't withstand any more injuries at. Trey Harris is already doing everything that Quentin Johnston can do as a blocker for our rushing attack. He's a better route runner, and even though QJ's breaking out this year, it's helping his trade value. I think he's got more solid hands, smoother hands. I don't know. I just feel like one is just in the way of 9's superstardom that's incoming. And we also have KLS behind him. We still have Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey as obviously the first options at wide receiver. Darius Davis is very underrated when he's healthy. He needs to be used at more than just punt return. Trading QJ isn't something that we want to do because he is one of our red zone threats. He's been making some big plays, so I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even want it to happen necessarily, but I have to pick a player for every single team. The Chargers' most likely trade is to acquire a running back for super cheap. I don't see them wanting to trade a bunch of picks for any star players or anything crazy. The Commanders player that should be traded probably is Von Miller to keep trying to chase a ring. It's not going to happen in Washington this year, but they need every defensive player that they can get, so they probably won't be trading anybody. Steelers is pretty hard to pick because they're a team that should be acquiring. They just got Kyle Duggar and added him to their secondary, so maybe trade away Jabril Peppers. Again, not pointing at any logos, but you guys are seeing a theme in this video. Should just change this to the players the Chargers should trade for video. Brandon Ayuk is the player I picked for the 49ers. It just feels like they're loaded at wide receiver when healthy. I know they're not healthy right now, but you get Ricky Pearsall out there. You get Juwan Jennings out there. George Kittle is an option, obviously, as a receiver. Keep drafting at that position in the future. Go ahead and get this cap space cleared with the Brandon Ayuk bad contract. Get a bad attitude out of your locker room that I don't think him and Shanahan get along too much, and trade him anywhere, basically. Seahawks shouldn't trade trade anybody, but if you want to free up some playing time and free up some space in the field, like I'm saying, for QJ and Trey Harris, that rookie safety is going to be a superstar in the league, and he's only not playing as much because of Julian Love. So you could consider trading Julian Love, but the Seahawks shouldn't trade anybody, especially from the defense. In Tampa, Graham Barton sits as a backup tackle still. I know they needed him in a pinch in the past, but he's a starter on almost every team in the league except for Tampa. And tackles are worth way more as a position than people realize, especially in the trade market. Tennessee Titans, I think that you should probably trade Calvin Ridley. More realistically to get dealt is Tony Pollard. The Jaguars aren't using their own trade edition in Kalon Sanders. Maybe send him somewhere that needs some interior help. And can the Kansas City Chiefs please trade Patrick Mahomes? Just kidding. I doubt that they'll trade anyone. If anything, they're a team that's going to be acquiring players at the trade deadline. But now with all your wide receivers healthy, you got all your speed demons, you don't need Hollywood Brown as much, but there are some teams that could use Hollywood. Speaking of receivers, the Las Vegas Raiders should trade Jacoby Myers ASAP. And them Dallas Cowboys should look on the other side of the ball and possibly trade Trevon Diggs. Clear some cap, maybe trade him to the Bills. That would be kind of ironic. Or trade the Patriots, which would just be fun. Just put him in the depth there. That's one player that every team should consider trading. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, like it, please. It's the most important thing, honestly. And then comment your favorite team and if I got the player right that they should trade or if I got it wrong. Who will get traded at this year's trade deadline? It's coming up quick, but I guess sooner rather than later. The ball definitely won't lie.
It takes talent. Yeah, you gotta have love for the game. Super Bowl to Hall of Fame. Touchdown. I hope that you got your head in the game. From the field to the microphone.